Hi. So today in this video I want to talk about my Thanksgiving experience as the only vegan in my family. So first we went to my dad's cousin's house for Thanksgiving, and of course like all of them bring quiche, so a lot of cheese, or it's like eggs, bacon, because they're all very, very English. It's like, so the only thing there was fruit. There was fruit there, and like I didn't eat in between anything. And so, when we were there, it seemed like a lot of people, at least my uncle and his like friend Lori, who came. They were very like, we normally don't know. We don't see the other people, all the other people there. Like, we barely know my dad's side of the family, besides my uncle. Barely know them, and it's like, why do we even go? But, my mom said we go for my uncle so he has someone to talk to, but, I mean, it doesn't seem like they weren't talking that much. They seemed very bored. Like, I saw Lori, his girlfriend, kind of sitting there, lonely, and not lonely, but so when I try to strike up a conversation with someone who looks lonely or bored or whatever, I talk to her about how getting into all this Taoist, like, alternative breathing methods to, like, I don't know, improve your, circadian rhythm and give you more energy. Alternative Taoist, like embryonic breathing, back breathing. She kept saying, "Oh, that's interesting." Like that was definitely a recurring thing throughout the day when I kept talking to different people about all my alternative qigong energy work stuff. They were like, "Oh, that's interesting." It's interesting that I was at a Kabbalah meeting and they said that even the people who made tarot, like pre-Christianity, they made cards that correspond to like Neptune and Pluto. So there were obviously people who knew about those planets before telescopes. So when I kept talking about those things with people, they kept saying, "Oh, that's interesting. That's interesting. Yeah, right. Right. Yeah. Well, I think if it's interesting, why don't you show any interest?" It's like, I acknowledge that those things are pretty out there, but and it's hard to wrap your head around. But I mean, don't tell me it's interesting when you're not interested. So one of the worst things about still being a student, college student, is I keep being asked, like, the one question that people can think of is, how's school? It's like, unless there's something really bad happening, like there isn't anything really huge going on at school, I'm not gonna tell you. It's like, when people ask you how you are, like, sometimes I answer like, I'm divine, I'm etheric, I'm hermetic, I'm anemic, I don't know, I'm nervous, because it's like, does anybody not just say good? Like, good, fine, how are you? It's like, the day before Thanksgiving, when my astronomy teacher asked me how I was like, what a weird question. How am I? You want to know about everything that's going on in my life? Or sometimes I tell them, you know, in Ukraine, if you ask someone how they are, they will go, "Oh my God, how nice! You care that much about me to like." You want to hear all my stories about all the things that are going on in my life and how I feel about everything. And then, so they won't go, "Oh yeah, I'm fine. How are you?" No, they'll expect you to actually care about what's going on in their life. And so if you just go, "Oh yeah, I'm fine. How are you?" They'll be like, "No, what are you doing? You asked me how I was. Now, listen to my stories. I'm gonna tell you how I feel about everything that's going on in my life, what's going on in my work, and what's going on with my spouse or my girlfriend or whatever." And yeah, so I told him it's a weird question, but I guess they're more business minded over there. And he was like, "Are they business minded? Or are we just superficial?" Yeah, so Thanksgiving was uh, interesting. Yeah, interesting. When you actually show interest in something, that's when it's interesting. When you can actually make draw conclusions about more things from the observations of an event. So, yeah, after they asked me how school was, um, I told them about, how I want to go to Chinatown to get a massage. Because Chinatown is just cool. Like, I love Chinese culture too. Like, pretty much anything Eastern, like, just things are more relaxed over there. Yeah, I like the East a lot. Chinese, I'm sure the Native American culture kind of went over how they came over from Asia, the Bering Strait, or well, honestly, we don't even know where they came from. Like the Aboriginal Australians, they kept all of their history through word of mouth, and no one has any stories of crossing crossing water to get to Australia. They were like, "No, God put us on Australia. We didn't come from Africa. We were always here." So, I mean, do we really know? Like, science can only confirm what it can see, and I mean, do we really can't see? I don't know, the ancestry lineage is like the human race is a lot older than science thinks. So when I told them I wanted to go to Chinatown to get a massage, the first thing they thought of was happy endings. Like, yeah, of course, that's the only thing they can think of. The sex part. I mean, I guess it's funny, but really, like, the massage, the whole thing about Chinese massage is, it's so holistic, and a lot of people don't know, Taoists actually have these meditations where you can just, like, you can hold up your foot, and there's actually, there's a really important point called the bubbling well point, which is supposed to be where all our like intuition and creativity and all the things that are associated with younger people that people tend to lose as they get older. The Taoists say you lose that sense of like creativity and like divine bliss and being a happy baby. You lose that through your foot, so that's why like at the beginning of every Tai Chi session, you seal the feet. Like the feet and the hands correspond. Like there's a bubbling well point here and a bubbling well point here. So they do these meditations where you just hold pressure, you apply pressure at this point, then so you hold that for like 5 minutes or something and you see what happens. I don't know, the feet are, it's really cool how there are a lot of acupressure points on the foot. Like, you can just hold a few points and it's supposed to relieve like nasal congestion. And the Chinese, amazing what they put into all the thought of nature. And yeah, like the Native Americans, I read in that book that they their god Tarawa, they thought that he doesn't speak to humans, like he can't speak human, so he sent animals and the sun and the moon and stars to carry his messages with him. So they just figured, we're gonna live like the animals, we're gonna copy what the animals do, because they know how to live. So yeah, happy endings isn't what I'd be looking for in Chinatown. I mean, besides the massage, there's all the other cool stuff to look for. Like, I really want to see, there's actually this thing that not all Chinese are in touch with it. I bet it's a pretty small minority that knows how to do this. But, like, I hear a lot about monks where they use chi energy, what I learned about in Tai Chi class, the Qigong class, to, they are so in touch with chi that, one, that's how they levitate, and how they can do pyrokinesis, like starting fire, with just their hands. I know, it's pretty amazing. Just gotta practice a lot. It's obviously not gonna be that easy. So, yeah, when I was talking to my uncle about happy endings, I was thinking, yeah, the sex part, it's like, I'm not. When you go through Kundalini Awakening, you realize that your focus of your intentions, like your thinking, is up here. So you're thinking about your health, and you're not thinking about, like, most people, their center of like focus and thinking is below their waist. Because, you know, Kundalini Awakening, it's all about how the energy starts at the base of the spine and eventually it travels up to the head. And eventually your energy will be more up here. So, yeah, I was talking to Lori about Tai Chi and Qigong because she didn't seem like no one else was talking to her. She was kind of just staring off into space. So we figured, hey, I'll try to share some enlightenment with her. I'll talk about Qigong and Tai Chi, and she kept going, oh yeah, right. Yeah. That's interesting. Well, you people, do you even listen, or do you just want something loud going on so you don't have to talk? Or so you don't have to listen to yourself? You just want to fill the noise. Or you just want noise to fill the space. Meditation, definitely something you should get into. I was watching a video about the top 3 things you should get into. And they were meditation, exercise, and reading. Yeah. And after we left my dad's cousin's house, well, one, I wasn't as, like, I don't know, worried about, preoccupied with, I don't know, my uncle, like, when we have to say goodbye to him, that's like, parting is such a sorrow. I don't know why he takes, like, 15 minutes to say goodbye. I don't get it. So I was just gonna walk back to the car up the street. And then there was this other, like, bonfire barbecue thing going on outside a different house. And this police officer he was seeing me walking outside in just this. And I guess, yeah, you could say that I was a little cold. I wasn't wearing a jacket like everyone else, but just because I'm doing something different than everyone else, it's like, I don't get why it's so. You have to worry about people doing anything different. It's like, that's not. The United States culture sucks, really. I hate how, like, the cop was so worried about me. It was like, oh, that kid's so fucked up. It's like, I was standing in front of the car just waiting for my parents. And then he walked me back to where my parents were because he thought I was lost or something. It's like, oh, that cop. If I could go back in time, I'd be like, take your hands off me! And just open the car door, and I was like, okay, I'm just waiting for my parents. So I don't know why that cop was, like, so worried about me. We just thought, anyone doing anything different definitely needs my help. No, that's not true. Damn cops. So the moral of the story, the moral of the story is you can't trust authority figures. Yeah, I think what I learned throughout the night was, just because someone older thinks they know more than you, like, they don't know more just because they're older. It's actually probably the reverse. Like, they grew up in a different generation. They grew up in a totally different society. So now the schools knew more, and there was more information out. So I think younger people like me, growing up, we know more about, like, older people. They obviously don't know. They don't know what they're talking about. Like, most people, you can't listen to most people because most people don't know what they're talking about. And so after we were at my dad's cousin's house, we went home. We went to my aunt's of my mom's sister, and of course I'm the only vegan, so it's like I'm wondering why are we still eating meat anyways? Like, the whole thing was that it's just cultural lag, how we used to have to eat meat, like hunter-gatherers. That's a point people like to bring up in the debate about veganism and omnivores. But, okay, we might in reality be omnivores, but no, it's like being herbivorous is so much better for the body. It's like the human stomach acid is at 7 on the pH scale, and if you go to any carnivore in nature, like, I don't know, a lion or a wolverine or a lynx or something, their stomach acid is at pH like 1 or 3 to be able to digest, to melt bone. So no, we might have had to eat meat in the past, like when the humans were evolving, but that was actually really unhealthy. And so if you look at any society that stops eating their livestock, like the Poland and Romania and all those Jewish communities, when the Nazis and before the Holocaust took their livestock away to feed their army, and so the Jewish communities couldn't eat their livestock, couldn't eat their meat. Their circulatory diseases plummeted. So it's just so much healthier to eat just vegetables, or to not eat animal products. Animal products are poison. They're not good for us. And if you watch those documentaries, Forks Over Knives, Earthlings, Food Inc., it explains so much. It's like, I mean, there is the health side. I mean, those reasons do exist. And people talk about, like, feeling spiritual when they do it. Like, those reasons do exist. But there's also the environmental side. Like, now, it's like, the way we eat just in the past 40 years changed so much. Like, the animal agricultural industry is just changed so much. I'm wondering what's wrong with veganism. Why aren't there more vegans? It's like you don't even want to try. It's like I was talking to my cousin about how like it's obviously gonna get rid of cholesterol because like that's the only thing you can get from animal products. I mean, a lot of people don't know it's impossible to be protein deficient without being calorie deficient. So as long as you get calories from plants, you're not going to be protein deficient. And there's a strong correlation between the countries that drink the highest rates of cow's milk, and the countries with the highest rate of osteoporosis. So the more cow's milk you drink, the more osteoporosis prone you'll be, the higher your risk of osteoporosis will be. And also just, if you look at cow's milk, it's like, there are people who have reported being traumatized by the screams of, like, mother cows. The people that grow up next to a dairy farm. So it's obviously not, it's not like cows don't need to give us their milk. Cows don't want to give us their milk. It's not their purpose. It's like, the reason cows give milk, it's just like how we got milk from our moms. Like, so mom cows only make milk when they have babies. But that good shit's for us, so we tear away the baby cow from the mom so we can get her milk. So I don't know why. It's like those cows are getting all types of antibiotics and they're getting shots, and I know there's like pus and blood and feces, I bet, dropping into the milk in those factories. And those cows are kept in close quarters without being able to move for a real long time throughout the day, so I bet there's definitely gotta be some germs circulating in those factories. So, yeah, I was talking to my cousin about that, and she was like, but I don't have bad cholesterol, and I was like, okay, yeah, but that's still, you're supporting, if you eat any animal products, you're supporting the, deforestation of the Amazon rainforest, because that's the main reason they're cutting down so many acres of the Amazon rainforest so quickly to clear land to be able to clear land to be able to plant just grass, to be able to allow their cattle to graze. So no, it's not mining, or it's not just palm oil. Those are parts of it. Those are other reasons companies are tearing down the Amazon rainforest. But there's also animal agriculture. So if you want to be an environmentalist, you can't eat any animal products. No, so like cows, they produce so much CO2. So I don't get why aren't there more vegans? It's a mystery. So throughout the night, I was thinking like, everybody, they just kind of were joking about like, we're omnivores, it said in Genesis and whatever, blah blah blah, and so I wasn't taking them seriously. I know everything that people say is a joke. Like, most people, they just don't have anything better to say. Like, when I walk in with a ponytail and my Uncle Marty says, hey, I'm gonna get the scissors and cut that ponytail, you know? You gotta do something about the ponytail. Well, people make fun of other people when they look different just because they have nothing better to do. They have nothing better to do. They're just it's very sad. I think people are sad. So very sad, the American culture. Oh, they eat so much, like, I don't think, we're not even supposed to eat dessert, like, there are people with all these diseases, like diabetes, obesity, acid reflux disease. That's your body telling you that you're eating too much. You're taking abusive dietary habits. That's not how humans were supposed to eat. We're not supposed to eat 3 meals a day. It's just, it was made for cultural reasons or political reasons. Like the white settlers, they saw the Native Americans just eating whatever they wanted. And they thought, hey, we're better than that. We're cultured and we're gonna eat 3 meals a day because we want. It's like, and there's so many TED Talks about how fasting boosters brain growth, or how we're not supposed to, humans aren't supposed to eat 3 meals a day. Like, fasting has so many health benefits. It's like, obviously, humans weren't supposed to eat like we are doing. Like society is going way faster than evolution. We're not supposed to eat like this. And it's like, anyways, all this stuff, the packaged stuff that they eat, it's like, unless it's homemade, the packaging came with has all sorts of chemicals. So the chemicals get into the food and you're eating chemicals. It's like, you're supposed to eat food from food. It's like, the whole Thanksgiving thing, I thought it was very, like, the United States culture, I don't want to say American because, I mean, we're the United States. It's like, America just refers to the, everything Amerigo Vespucci discovered that was so what Amerigo Vespucci discovered that was just not India, not what Columbus thought was. So I think it's all very sad. Like, a lot of people, like, when I was talking to this guy about having a dog, and I told him my dog's 10, and he said, oh, that's an old dog, or it's gonna go fast, or whatever. I was like, no, I have a really little dog. So, You know, the thing about people being bigger and bigger, like, as you eat more and more and more, that's putting strain on your body. That's hypertension. That's more, like, weight. Your body's doing with weight. Like, you never see old tall people, or you usually don't. You see old short people. Like, he didn't even know that smaller dogs, they live longer because they're just like people. Smaller things live longer. Like, bigger things, bigger people have to do with hypertension, or you're putting with like, more strain on your body as you live. So, I mean, it's good to be tall, and there are other ways to, like, Tai Chi. It makes it so the body is like softening up the kinks in the hose that the Tai Chi teachers talk about. But so as Thanksgiving went on, I was like, yeah, everyone said they ate too much. Like, I think if you go into intermittent fasting, if you get into intermittent fasting, what bodybuilders do is, like, when you don't eat between 7 a.m. and 7 p.m., or even, like, when I intermittent fast, I don't eat anything in the beginning of the day, and I just wait until 7 p.m. or 6 p.m. or sometimes afternoon, really. Just anytime afternoon. That's all you need to do. Just don't eat anything in the beginning of the day, and just wait until sometime afternoon. But I like to go longer. Like, the longer the better. So the reason bodybuilders do it is because fasting releases HGH. Like, you can look it up. Just type in fasting for HGH release, and you'll get all these articles about how kids, if they intermittent fast, they'll actually grow to be taller than they would if they didn't intermittent fast. So HGH, the intermittent fasting releases so much. It releases HGH, which is suppressed with eating. It's like, the way we eat is just like, my mom works for Indian people, and they say when you eat, you'll see them doing all this weird stuff. Like, if you try to talk to them after they've sat down to eat, they won't talk back to you. They'll just sit there in silence. Because the Hindu ideology is that when you sit down to eat, that's all you're supposed to do. Just enjoy your food. So you're completely focused, be 100% committed, present in what you're doing. Be present in what you're doing. Just eat. Just know that you're eating food right now. Just be aware that you're taking in energy, and that you're fully conscious of the information you're taking in. So just eat your food. That's what they say. Just sit down and don't talk. Don't focus on anything else. Just eat your food. But I mean, all this is a lot to talk about, but I mean, the American culture is like, I think it's really interesting how the standard American diet, the acronym is actually like the SAD diet. So, no, what average Americans do, you don't wanna do what most people do, because most people are stupid. Most people don't know what they're talking about, so you do not want to do what most people are doing. Like, after Thanksgiving food, after I ate, like, the mashed potatoes and all the stuffing and cauliflower and stuff, that all the vegan food that they just let go to waste. Like, they don't even eat it. They just move on to dessert, and they eat whatever cakes or whatever, and they just leave the stuffing and all those non-vegan, or those vegan foods, like the cranberry sauce and the other cranberry stuff, and the just all the mashed potatoes and all the sweet potatoes, the salads, all those vegan foods that they eat for their entrees. They just leave them and let whole entire platters, just heaping bowls, go to waste. So I just didn't even eat dessert. I just ate the entrees that they had left, the mashed potatoes, all the mashed potatoes, and all the stuffing and cauliflower that they just left. And for dessert, I actually brought a dessert. I brought vegan soul cakes. Yeah, soul cakes. People, like, if you don't know what soul cakes are, soul cakes is what they gave out for Halloween during the Middle Ages. They were the original Halloween treat. Soul cakes were like bread cookies, or like, they're not really cookies, or, they're cakes. It's just like in the name. Soul cakes are, oh no, there's no better way to tell than to just make soul cakes yourself and just make them, like, if you met someone who's never had an apple before, there's no better way to explain to them what an apple is than to give them an apple. Of course, we also play this game, LCR, Left, Right, Center, the gambling game. And I just played one round. In hindsight, I shouldn't have played it like 2 years before I was vegan, before I was so into the counterculture movement. I won 2 years in a row. So I think I already got my money, so I already got all the stuff I need, like $40. I don't need to play every year. It's like just a wasted time, and it's so loud how they scream, like, each person when they just roll a dot, they go, "Oh!" Like, I think that's all just so stupid. So I'm not gonna be playing, like, humans weren't supposed to be humans weren't supposed to be in environments where everything's so loud. It's like, because actually in hospitals they realize that when there's less noise coming from all the machines and stuff, the healing process is actually faster, and patients' wounds heal faster. So no, of course you're gonna heal faster when there's less noise going on, because that's how the human body evolved. Like, obviously there weren't all these, like, gadgets and all these advertisements and cars and stuff, all this technology when the human race was evolving. So no, we aren't meant for loud environments. So always try to go to quieter environments. Always avoid the crowd. Don't be so into the crowd. It's like they just want something loud going on so they don't have to talk. So no, it's like the countercultural revolution is about, being outside in quieter environments in nature. So something that would be natural is being away from all the noise that goes on in the American culture, because the American culture sucks, really. To be honest, the American culture, the United States culture, it's a terrible culture. We're doing all this stuff that's, like, not, humans aren't meant to do it. It's like mind control, and just all this stuff, all this information, and we can't process all this information. That's why we meditate. And also at Thanksgiving, so again, yeah, I said Marty was talking about cutting off my ponytail. Well, I think people just make fun of people that look different because they have nothing better to do. So yeah, it's really sad. They have nothing better to do. They just talk shit and they act like everything's a joke because they have nothing better to do. And me, at the end of the day, when everyone says like, oh, I ate too much, or everyone's got these cramps, now I start doing yoga, I talk about evolution. It's like, people don't understand how magic works. It's not like, it doesn't work as fast as you think. Like, when I was talking about alchemy with my aunt, and she wanted to know, like I said, alchemy can be anything. It's a transformation of anything. It's just the art of transformation. So like, illness into health, poverty into wealth, and of course, she automatically, like, I want to know how to turn poverty into wealth. She wanted to know how to turn poverty into wealth. Well, how to turn poverty into wealth. I mean, you're so vain, like, just thinking about, the only thing you think about is money. It's like money and sex, that's it. That's the American culture, money, sex, food. I mean, even for when we were playing LCR, I said, so I know what I'm thankful for. I'm thankful for a good singing voice. And they wanted to hear me singing. So it was like, I started singing, "You're so vain. You walked in to the party like you were walking onto a yacht. But they had dipped strategically over when I discovered was apricot. You had one eye in the mirror as you watch yourself go by." And all the girls dreamt that they'd be your partner, wishing they were your partner. You're so vain. You probably think this song is about you. You're so vain. I bet you think this song is about you. Don't you? Don't you? You had me several years ago when I was still naive. You said we made the perfect couple and that you would never leave. But you gave up the things you loved, and one of them was me. And I dreamt there were some clouds in my coffee, clouds in my coffee. You're so vain. You probably think this song is about you. You're so vain. I bet you think this song is about you. Don't you? Don't you? They didn't even get that. I was referencing them. Like, I get that it's kind of being rude to, like, expect that my family change their whole culture, like, just because I go vegan and stuff, but it's like the American culture, the United States culture needs to change. It's like, we're people, it's like, why aren't there more vegans? It's just healthier. It's healthier. People ask me, why am I vegan? Why did I go vegan? Because it's the right thing to do. Because there's the environmental aspect. It's just so much better for the environment. It's the right thing to do. I mean, all you vain people, it's like, throughout the night, the one thing I kept asking people, my $1 million question was, so what are you really thankful for? And the only thing people could think of was food and friends and safety and health. And I get that all that stuff's good, like, it's really good to be thankful for, but there's all that other stuff to be thankful for. I mean, we live in the United States, a nation that's so developed. And So there's so much to be thankful for in America. Like, we live in a country and a time when we actually have workers' rights. Like, you're only required to do an 8-hour work day, depending on what kind of job you have. It's like, in the other parts of the world, there's still other parts of the world where they don't have unions. Like, unions are still illegal. There was a time in America, the United States, when the unions were illegal, but now they're legal and they're somewhat encouraged. So workers' unions. Other countries, they don't have that. They don't even have, there's some parts of the world where workers aren't even paid, or they don't have workers' compensation. Like, we have workers' compensation where if you get injured on the job, you get to stay home while you heal while being paid. So it's like, we have access to we have all these workers' benefits and stuff, like healthcare and dental care. We have all these workers' benefits in the United States. We're so developed. But all these other countries, there are other parts of the world. You have to be thankful that you don't live in those parts of the world where they don't, like, if you watch the documentary, The Corporation, it shows that the only way these people that were shooting the movie, the documentary, were able to get the information of the women who work in these, like, Singapore and, like, I don't know, places in the Caribbean and all these third world countries. The only way they were able to get their information was because when the guards came to stop them from being able to shoot the documentary and being able to keep exploiting these people who live in third world countries who are living in poverty, the only way they were able to shoot the documentary and not have these guards stop them from exploiting the workers was the women who work there in the third world countries for, like, no pay, who work in sweatshops for, like, no pay. They were smart enough to give them, to pass to the documenters their contact information under the table where they were working. It's like, when I ask people, what are you thankful for, or what are you most thankful for, it's like, you gotta be thankful for, like, I'm thankful for that I grew up in a, non-energetically dense area. I grew up in a, place where there's actually grass to walk on. I grew up in the suburbs. I grew up out in nature. I have Tai Chi class. There's Tai Chi and yoga over in the United States. And so good for, like, renewing the body, getting rid of all the shit that society throws at you, all the stress and stuff that you're unaware of. So I'm thankful for, like, poetry, because everyone loves me because of my poetry, and how poetry, like, it's, like, so easy. You just write down some random words and everyone gives you so much money. Or even if they don't give you money for it, they think, oh, it's so nice, you did something good. It's like, there's so much to be thankful for in the United States and, yeah, other countries. It's like, foreigners, they don't celebrate Thanksgiving because they don't have as much to be thankful for. It's like, when I was in Food for Thought camp in the summer, and I was in a business class and asked this kid, like, we were doing mock interviews, so we kept asking each other these questions. So the other kid got the question, what are you thankful for? And the kid said, Oreos. That was all he was thinking of. all I was thankful for was Oreos. So, you're obviously not a deep thinker. I mean, just Oreos, like, that's so vain. It's like, you people are so vain. So, yeah, the one thing I learned above all, throughout my Thanksgiving experiences, okay, just because someone older, they think they know more. No, just because they're older doesn't mean they know anything more. They actually know a lot less. Or at least, I mean, there are younger people that don't know more. Just because you're younger doesn't mean you know more. But, like, if you're like me, if you're growing up in a different generation, if you had access to all this other information, like if you had the internet, because I know there was even a time when, like, our elders growing up, they didn't have the internet. They didn't grow up with all the information that we have, so they aren't as educated as we are. People are growing up in the new age. But, like, just because you're younger doesn't mean you're smarter. But if you're like me, if you're part of the countercultural revolution, if you find out about all these new things, if you love to learn new things every day, if you make that your top priority to keep learning, like life ends when you stop learning. So if you're like me, if you, I don't know, keep learning, if you go on the internet and don't just watch like fail blog or like I don't know, whatever challenge videos or videos that are just stupid to entertain. Like, I watch educational stuff. I watch documentaries. I don't even watch TV. So like the mainstream media, I'm not into the mainstream media because the mainstream media is so stupid. They're just pandering to the lowest common denominator. It's like, if you go on the internet, there's so much more. They're actually real people with real world experiences that tell you about what's going on. They give you unbiased opinions, or less biased than the mainstream media. Because the mainstream media, they're just trying to entertain. That's all they're trying to do. They're like Marilyn Manson, if you listen to Marilyn Manson like I do, like, all his music is about the countercultural revolution. Like, here's the song, They Love You When You're on All the Covers. Yeah, he's obviously talking about how the media only cares when you're, like, on magazine covers. Or when you're the idol, the one that's being idolized by so many fans and the one who can make money. They don't care about the people. They don't care what they're doing to the people. So, yeah, Thanksgiving is a very interesting holiday. Like, from now on, I want people, when they say something's interesting, yeah, actually show interest in it. Like, when I talk about alternative Taoist breathing and, like, Qigong and Tai Chi, when I talk about how we're not supposed to breathe their chest, how full lung capacity, like, babies, naturally, they breathe through their stomachs. That's why the stomach of someone who grew up naturally, like, in a, I don't know, like, out where I live, like, in a rural area, or suburban, or someone who doesn't have so much stress in their life, they'll breathe through their stomach. That's because that's the natural way to live. That's how the full human use, full human expansion. That's how the human's supposed to live. So people from now on, when I talk about stuff like that, or when you say, "Oh, that's interesting," when you go, "Oh yeah, right, that's interesting," That's interesting. Actually take interest in it. When you actually try to take interest in it. It's like, why do we even have Thanksgiving? Like, we don't even remember the Native Americans who, if it wasn't for the Native Americans, the Indians who taught the, pilgrims, who kept them from starving, like, we wouldn't have these, like, pilgrims wouldn't have even have been able to live. So it's like, we don't even, it's like, when you think of, we should be thankful for Native Americans. We should honor them more. Like, we should go to powwows. We should read about their Native American wisdom. We should learn about the Native Americans more. We should learn about how they lived in the natural way, how they learned from the animals. But I mean, the American culture, it's so encouraging to, like, stupid holidays like Columbus Day, Thanksgiving. It's like, what? Or the 4th of July, or, like, if you're a coolest like me, you'll learn, for political reasons, the Catholic Church, they made, like, in Kabbalah, you learn Christmas is definitely not when Jesus was born. Like, in the Bible, there are clues. If you actually read the Bible, there are clues that Jesus was born, like, April. Like in December, shepherds would not be in their fields. Like, they would not be herding goats and stuff. So, yeah, the Catholic Church just made that because there were all these pagan religions that were, kind of making, there was Yule to celebrate the solstice. There was the pagan religion, and the reason we use reindeer and Santa, the whole thing about reindeer was in pagan Yule celebrations, the very early humans, before Christianization, they had to follow the reindeer throughout the North Pole to be able to, like, keep track of, where they were going in the darkest days and darkest nights of winter, or be able to, they were following the animals back then, because they needed to, live on animal products back then, before the Middle Ages, or during the Middle Ages. They needed to follow the animals because the reindeer were, it was actually the matriarch of the reindeer herd that led the reindeer herds throughout the Arctic Circle. And that's how the people lived. They were following the matriarch. So, actually, Christmas, Yuletime celebrations, the dancing in the woods and the getting drunk, the feast of wine and corn and bread, the pagan religion, actually focus on the matriarch of the reindeer herds, the female reindeer. So, I don't know, Christianization has changed it a lot. You'll be surprised if you do your research. A lot of New Age, Easter and stuff, all those, Christian religions are based on pagan religions. The Catholic Church just wanted to mask it so people would pay more attention to the Catholic Church. So it'd be so people think they had more power in the Middle Ages and stuff. They try to get rid of the old religion. So, yeah, Thanksgiving, terrible holiday. I have no idea why the fuck we celebrate it, because it's all exploiting the Native Americans. Then we don't even give them any credit, and we aren't thankful for anything. We're terrible Americans. We're so vain. We just gamble and we overeat, and we eat all this non-vegan food, hurting the animals, the ones that are totally responsible for our survival. It's like, without the animals, we couldn't live, like, and we don't even honor the sun, like, we forget about the sun, like, if it wasn't for the sun, we wouldn't have any of the plants, and if we didn't have any of the plants, we wouldn't have any of the animals, and if we didn't have any of the animals, we couldn't live. So it's like, yeah, Thanksgiving, it's actually interesting when you show interest in it, like my video. Like, when you're actually interested in the holiday enough to make a video about it, not just say, oh yeah, right, you're right, that's interesting because, yeah, right, blah, 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 I'm a vain idiot, American culture, blah, 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 I overeat, not vegan, yeah, so, I think honor the Native Americans more, like, we should change this to Indigenous Peoples Day, because, I mean, they're the reason we even have this holiday, I think. Actually, if you actually do your research, the Iroquois had their feasts throughout the year. They had a couple of feasts, and one of them was for the harvest. So they did have, like, every year they had a harvest feast, which was sort of similar to what Thanksgiving was built on. So no, it's not all about the United States. It's not about the United States and Pilgrims. It's like, it's very old. It existed way before the Pilgrims. So, yeah, people start gambling less and eating less animal products and being less vain, being more thankful for other alternative things, not just the basics. The basics are family and friends and food and blah blah. And I know, those are the basics, and there are things to be thankful for, but, I mean, really, when you look at things in reality, there's so much, like, just that you're in the United States, there's so much to be thankful for, like there are those documentaries. Be thankful for the internet by actually using it. Actually use the internet by using it for educational purposes or watching documentaries. Like, if you have Netflix, there are these documentaries, all these documentaries to look at, like Food Inc., Food for Thought. No, it's not Food for Thought. Food Inc., Forks Over Knives, Earthlings. There's ones on YouTube about Tibetan yogis, and there are all those other documentaries about Magic of Solomon. There's Magic of Solomon, that's a good one. What other documentaries? Oh no, you should all watch more documentaries. Actually educate yourselves about the world around you. I mean, like that thing I was talking about, why Christmas is on December 23rd, because it's modeled after the Yule time solstice pagan religion holiday. So actually do your research. And bye guys. Hope you do your research from now on. And happy Thanksgiving, or happy Black Friday. It's Black Friday. Hope you're thankful for more than just food and friends and family and your housing. Be thankful that you have money to be able to afford the internet or be able to afford mobile phones be able to afford, like, be able to afford to be able to live in a house, or that you're you're um you're white privileged, you have money enough to be able to afford all the stuff you have. So yeah, start there by thinking about all the phones and computers and tablets and all the devices that you were able to afford. I mean, that's something to definitely be thankful for.